can hardly believe it that we're finally in Reykjavik in Iceland, and we've been greeted by snow, which is absolutely perfect. Hands are freezing cold, but we thought we'd begin our journey here by walking the very famous Rainbow Street, which is a sign of the inclusivity that is so important around here. You'll see it on every single sort of documentary of this area. And we're walking it towards the iconic church that is part of Reykjavik, designed, as you can see, to look vaguely like the lava, because the whole of Iceland is in fact one big lump of lava with active volcanoes apparently not so far away from us. Guess where we are? Here in Reykjavik. It's snowing. We actually don't know where we're supposed to go from here, but we need to go in there and get it onto GPS once we get connection and figure out where on earth we are and where we're going. But that's us. That's what we do. Reached our destination, Reykjavik. It's still snowing. Ah, voilà. We have our own terrace with our own snow.
We get some sundowners.
I'm not sure about sundowners out there. Don't think so. Certainly not today. This amazing piece of architecture behind me is actually a Lutheran church right here in the middle of Reykjavik. But it is recognized more as being a piece of architecture. It took more than 4 decades to build. The building started sometime after World War II, not long after, but it was deliberately designed to get across the feeling of Iceland. It's way more than just a sort of church. And that's what they've created here. It's become like a national monument in a way for Reykjavik. And the tourists flock to come and see the church and have a look at the view that you get from the top. Cutest little house in the middle of this main street of Reykjavik. I have to go and try it. There's going to be something nice and delicious and hot and cinnamony on this cold day. Here we go. Fika moment. In little heart-shaped cups, hot chocolate. This is like being inside a Hansel and Gretel cottage, all made out of wood and very small. Very cute. Oh, we've come out of our apartment today in search of hot coffee, and it's been snow flurries on the weather reports. But I don't know, I think this is way past snow flurries. This is just snow. So we're having sips of coffee, and apparently in Iceland this is quite a common thing to do, because you hunker down in a coffee shop and you get the deck of cards out. There are quite a few of these food halls everywhere in Reykjavik. Classic food hall. You know, you go in and it's one building and you get to choose whatever you want and then head for a central sitting area to eat. Just coming in out the snow, we're in the main, I suppose, high street of Reykjavik, and we thought we'd stop for coffee, and we found this zany looking place over here. So we've got our fika moment at the incredible cost of 125 rand a cappuccino. It's officially called the Laundromat Cafe, but it's obviously been popular with tourists because it's got itself a TripAdvisor award. But just to show you the kind of crazy prices, the carrot cake there translates into about 180 rand for a slice, and the coffees are about 125 rand for a cappuccino. That is slightly cheaper than what we've been paying so far. Oh, it's very painful to be here on a South African rand. I don't know what we expected. I think being spring, I was expecting greenery with little tiny bits of snow. But right now, I feel like we've landed on top of the Everest mountain. We're in one of the 3 national parks of Iceland, Thingvellir, which translates roughly into the parliament. And the history goes right back to the old Viking days. So they used to have gatherings here and called it parliament. But it's absolutely extraordinary, lots and lots of tourists around, but it's just a sight that I hadn't thought we were going to see at this time of the year. It really is extraordinary.
Plate already protruding above the ground, or you'll be technically walking down into the gorge, into the valley next to the plate. So what we are standing on currently is also part of the North American. Exactly.
And everybody thinks it's quite a romantic idea that you're walking between the two, but in fact we're not. We're walking on the North American tectonic plate side, and about 7 k's away is the actual Eurasian one. But it's an extraordinary view. I mean, people are walking in all directions. And as we got off the bus, our tour guide said to us, "Anybody want crampons? I've got some spare." That got our attention, I must say. It's also beautiful, but under this snow and ice, there's actually water that comes in summer. And in that water were some horrible atrocities that were committed in history, a place of icy drowning for the worst of sins that really don't match the punishment. So, interesting place of history. Interesting stop is a dairy farm. Efstedelu, I'm not going to try and pronounce that properly. It's got a whole process going on here in the dairy farm. Now it's the tail end of winter, so cows don't do outside in Iceland, not during the cold months anyway. It needs to be cosy. It's the cow form of the Scandinavia hygge. Just behind me is the Stracha Giza, which is literally just blown up into the sky. And they call it, as opposed to the original Giza, which is pretty dormant, the reliable performer. So tourists flock here to come and watch it gush itself up into the air. One of those interesting things and important things you have to do when you're doing the Golden Circular Tour of Iceland. I feel like I'm waiting for the start of the races. We're in Friðheimar, which is a huge attraction in Iceland. It is a tomato-growing greenhouse. And Billy and I have just come in with our tour, but we were just commenting on, you've got all this it's hot in here. It's like 40 degrees. It's really humid. And there's about 100 employees who are either the farmers, in inverted commas, or else they do the packing and the picking. And you forget that just outside, on the other side of this hothouse, is Iceland's snow.
Me, because we have to go middle of the jungle to do that. So yeah, just come up to me. Another greenhouse, because in total we have 9 of them. We also growing radish and tomatoes as our normal tomatoes, and we have heirloom tomatoes.
Our last stop on the Golden Circle tour of Iceland, and boy has the weather changed since we came out of the tomato farm for lunch. It's sort of sleeting and snowing. But we are standing by Geri, the crater, which is one of the more accessible craters around here. Interestingly, it's privately owned. I didn't know there was such a thing. But apparently this whole area is privately owned. And it's the way they've described it is like the magna of this thing, when it was once a volcano, has literally collapsed into itself, creating this very round, sort of conical walk. You can go all the way around it. In the summer months, they speak about the turquoise depths of the color down there. Right now, it's just sort of white frozen. And apparently they have summertime concerts right down there because the acoustics are so extraordinary. I think I'd like to come back in summer just to see that, to be honest with you.
Okay, I just look like
You just look like you belong.
Like-
We've never had to do crampons wherever we've been traveling.
but you have a word for it.
What?
You know what it means, right?
Only because you said.
Yeah, only because I said it.
All right, our first crampons.
Amazing.
First viewing of the Golden Waterfall. Wow. What else do you do on a Monday afternoon when the sun and the snow are both happening at the same time in Reykjavik? What you do is you find the Phallological Museum of Reykjavik. Pretty sure I'm not allowed to say the other P word on any form of a video, but you get what I'm saying. So here we are, and we'll let you know in a while. But this thing is a tourist attraction, so we've got to do it. Publicity is good publicity. This is the reindeer section. I know reindeer are supposed to have red noses, but I didn't know that that wasn't the only thing that was red. We are learning very fast, learning something every 5 seconds, but this, we've discovered, is where it all began. The owner of the original guy who put the museum together was a farm boy, and he used to get these bull penises, which were apparently called pizzles, and he'd use it for flogging and moving cattle around. And then his mates started to bring him other specimens of other animals, including them. It was in Iceland, including the mates used to work on the whale factory, but they would bring him whale penises, and before you knew it, he had a whole collection. So bing bang wallop, there we are, the start of this museum. We've just found the springbok, which seems suitable for our home lot, and it gives you all the statistics, but look at the mating habits. Traditional, often limited to a single thrust, that is the springbok. But if you trot over here to the common eland, traditional, but the female requires 4 hours of exclusive time prior to intercourse.
About 9 years, taking people to see Northern Lights, so I have been able to corroborate the data with the reality.
'You're like an Arctic explorer. Minutes away from where we're staying is the Sundil public swimming pool. We couldn't get into the great big kind of tourist ones like Blue Lagoon. It also cost 4 legs and 3 arms because it is Easter. So they've put on some heavy pricing structures, but we were suggested try the local ones. So in we go. I believe we're not allowed to film inside. So we'll let you know in a minute. We're allowed to film this. This is the ticket office area before you go into the swimming pool over there.
In the boxes on the toe. Take a shower without your swimsuit on. Take dry off before we enter the locker rooms.
All shoes have to be abandoned, Japanese style, before you actually go and get ready for the swimming pool. That was our first experience of Nordic swimming. We decided to go into the public swimming pool rather than these big commercial ones like the Blue Lagoon. So we were hanging out with the locals. Let me tell you, as South Africans, it's a bit of a culture shock. Nordic people, Icelandic people are very much different about that kind of experience. There was lots of bodies hanging around, whereas us South Africans are more modest. There were about, how many pools?
4 pools.
4 pools, and ranging from kind of cool to warm to bloody hot sort of thing at about 42.5 degrees or something, 43 degrees.
And swimming in a pool with snow right next to you is a new experience for us.
Yeah, we weren't allowed to take cameras in, which is such a pity, but so there you are in a steaming hot pool or tub, and then it's like snow on the trees outside. That's a first.